Justin Herbert back on the program, coming off, what's been a pretty good start for the Chargers so far. They got the Ravens coming up, which leads me to the obvious question. How much did you watch of the Ravens last night, Justin?
Yeah, I watched the entire game, but first off, thanks for having me back again. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, what do you take? Do you watch the offense? You watch the defense there, and you take notes?
You watch the entire game. It's kind of different than the film you watch just because of the camera angles, but whatever you can watch, whatever you can pick up during the game, I think is a bonus. But to be able to go back and watch it later the following day, I think helps even more.
You're listed as a dual threat quarterback. So's Lamar Jackson. Do you feel like you're a dual threat when you see Lamar Jackson out there on the field?
I do not have the same skill set as he does.
You're a good runner. Lamar just seems like he might be just a little better runner than you.
Lamar's quicker, faster, stronger. He can do it all.
But do you try not to run?
I think running is an important job of the quarterback position, and obviously not taking hits too, because I think your ability is your availability. And as long as we're doing our job and you can extend plays and convert third and fourth downs, I think using the quarterback's legs, I think that's a huge part of our offense.
But I wonder, though, when you go through your progressions, probably when you're in college, you may not have gone through everything. You just take off and run and rely on your athleticism. But in the NFL, you might be fast, but those guys on the other side of the ball are pretty fast too. So, like, do you have to have a clock in your head or a reminder of go through your progressions and then take off?
Yeah, that's one of those things that our quarterback coach last year, Pep Hamilton, and we talked about the entire time. And as soon as I got here, he said, everyone on defense is faster than you. And as soon as you realize that, getting the ball out quickly and going through your reads is the most important job. And sometimes the pocket does break down where there's a lane that splits and you can find it. But other than that, it's all about getting the ball out quick and finding your completions.
But when you learn to slide playing baseball, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, but because there are a few quarterbacks that have never learned to slide. You and Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson seem to be pretty good because you played baseball. Some of these other guys, they have no idea how to slide.
It's not an easy thing to do. I think just having grown up playing baseball ever since I was kindergarten, I feel like that's just a natural thing. And, and Kyler and Russell, I'm sure they played baseball growing up. And it's one of those things that I think you just learn to do, and definitely something you have to spend time on if you haven't played baseball.
What is it about the month of October? I don't know if you know these numbers. Since last season, in games played in the month of October, 17 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tied for the most touchdowns, fewest interceptions among starting quarterbacks in that month. You're tied with Tom Brady.
That's a pretty good guy to be in the conversation with.
But, I kept saying, don't get your hair cut because your stats are going to drop off. And that was last year. I mean, you paid the price. I hope you learned your lesson.
I did. I know we've talked about that plenty of times, and I won't make the same mistake.
Take me back to when you're in grade school and you said you're going to be a professional quarterback and you're going to live in Los Angeles. Like, first of all, is that true? And if so, how did you come to that conclusion so young in your life?
It is true. I think the more impressive thing is for my mom to have kept that piece of paper from elementary school. And she probably could have looked at it and said, you know what, we're not going to keep this, but she ended up keeping it, and we looked back at it. And, I think it's just one of those awesome things where if you put your mind to it, you can do anything. And it kind of worked out pretty well.
Just so you know, you're not a parent yet, but when you are, your wife will keep everything, just so you know. All those I got Valentine's Day cards I kept everything. So that kind of thing, if my son wrote down he wanted to be the quarterback for the Packers, I would have kept it, and then I would have embarrassed him the whole time when he realized that he was not an athlete. So yes, Mom does keep all of those things. So and thankfully she did.
Yeah, that's good to know though, because that was definitely a long time ago. So,
what do you do on a day off?
Watch film. The quarterbacks will come in and lift, and then right after that, we'll watch film for a couple of hours.
Yeah, but that's not a day off though, Justin.
Technically, it kind of is our day off, but you have to use all the time that you can to get advantage and get ahead of the schedule, because we don't have a whole lot of time during the day, and especially during the week. So anytime that we can get, we got to use.
Yeah, but isn't there part of you that goes, I gotta take a break from this?
I think you could look at it that way. I think I love football enough that I don't really ever want to get away from it. And I think when I do have off time, I think that's kind of the tough part is I need something to do. I need to watch football. I need to play football. So it's kind of weird like that.
But play golf, like a day that you just do video games, like you tell coach, hey, I'm going to take a personal day and go play golf or something. Does it work that way?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think maybe if you've got 15, 20 years in the league, but not yet.
Whose posters did you have on your wall growing up?
I had a Joey Harrington one from Oregon.
Okay, that makes sense.
I still have that in my room. So,
wait, in Los Angeles you have the Joey Harrington?
Back home in Eugene.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you brought Joey. Well, anybody else? Any other quarterbacks?
No, I think that was the only one. I think that was a picture of him scoring on a quarterback throwback in, I think, an early bowl game in maybe 2002 against Texas. I can't remember which game it was, but.
Now, you talked about you knew you wanted to be a professional quarterback. When did you know you wanted to be Oregon's starting quarterback?
I grew up being an Oregon fan, so maybe as soon as I knew what football was, kindergarten, first, second grade, we started going to all these Oregon games, and my parents would always take me, and that was kind of always the goal. Whether that was realistic at the time, I didn't know. I think as soon as I got to high school and started playing and kind of started to get some attention, I kind of realized that maybe it was a little more realistic than I thought.
He's the Chargers quarterback, Justin Herbert. The Chargers just beat the Browns, and he threw for 4 touchdowns, also ran for another one. How do you explain that fourth quarter?
We've watched it a couple times. We've talked about it. I don't know. To put up 34 points in the second half like that, and it really was a shootout, more of like a college football game kind of than we imagined. But I thought it was great for our offense to be able to answer so many times. And, sometimes that's the NFL, and sometimes you're going to give up 6 points and sometimes you're going to give up a lot of points. And it's all about complementing the other side of the ball. And I thought it was a win by all 3 phases on Sunday. Did you say hello to Miles Garrett at all? Because that defensive front usually is pretty ferocious there. Yeah, I talked with him after the game. He is tough to block. He is about as special as it gets. And the combination of speed, toughness, agility, there's no one else like him. Can you hear those guys coming? No, I think everything calms down so much noise-wise that it's more all visual, and sometimes you just feel it, and you've got maybe 1 or 2 seconds in the pocket before it collapses. So it's definitely a tough situation. Explain that feel that you have to have in the pocket, because we look at guys like Brady, just it's a little movement here or there. Like, how is that something learned, or is it just something in your DNA? Yeah, I think it is something you can learn. I think it's a lot of experience and feeling that the leverage of the defender. And sometimes with those quick movements, like you mentioned, you can buy just enough time to be able to get the throw off. And I think that's what Tom Brady's been so good at, is he's got such a great feel in the pocket that he's able to step up, avoid the rush, and get the ball out on time. What's been the biggest improvement for you? I think understanding the offense and learning about defenses have been huge this offseason. I've spent a lot of time with Shane Day, Chase Daniel, and Easton Stick, just talking about defenses on our offense and having a good feel for it. And so that when we go out on Sunday, you can recognize the coverage, see the fronts, you can see everything and not spend too much time worrying about it. I mentioned this earlier when it comes to quarterbacks and how you process. You have to do everything, and you get like 15 or 20 seconds. Send the play in, maybe send 2 plays in, get to the line of scrimmage. You got to call out coverage. I mean, can you explain that? Just let people understand that it's not as easy as it appears to be, and give me real time getting the play or plays, and then what happens. Yeah, so everything is signaled in through the radio in our helmets, and then you repeat the play, and sometimes they get pretty long. And so those are stuff that you've got to study all week, and 15, 16 word calls are definitely tough, but you go into the huddle, you repeat the play, tell everyone what to do, you break the huddle, you see the coverage, whether you have any run tags or kills or alerts, you got to be ready for those. But you get up to the line of scrimmage, you run the play, and then you do the whole thing again.
Okay, give me a complex play. It just called in, and what's it going to be?
Last year we'd go fleet right, 335 max, F seam, dag, kill. You could throw on whatever you want. They get pretty long, and it's just stuff you got to really study.
Anybody ever looked at you and not known what you're talking about in the huddle?
No, everyone else has been really good. Sometimes I've messed up calls. Where I go in and
wait, how's that happen that you don't know what you're talking about?
There's just so many plays, and you got to worry about so much, and sometimes you mess up, like whether it's a tag to the Z or the F, and so sometimes the words just get split up in your mind, so it's tough.
Your headset ever go out?
A couple times. And so that's when you just have to go with a play that everyone can run. And depending on the personnel you have out on the field, you got to make a split decision.
Do you practice quarterback sneaks?
We do, actually. So we've actually talked a lot about that. And with Joe Lombardi, he's kind of talked a lot about how Drew Brees has done it, and he's been really successful over the years. So we've kind of implemented a lot of things that he's been able to do. And
Brady, I mean, he scores all of it. He's the king of the sneak.
Yeah, it's a really tough play to stop, and to be able to stop the run and stop the play action pass, it's not an easy job.
But when you go up to the line of, you go up to your center, do you tap him on the right or left cheek if you're going to do a quarterback sneak?
It's kind of known which direction. We kind of talk about that the prior to the game.
Oh, okay. Because I don't want you to give away secrets here that when you go to the line of scrimmage and you're tapping your center on the cheek there. Do people recognize you in L.A.?
I don't really spend too much time outside of the building and my house, and it hasn't really been too much of an issue. I don't think people care too much about it.
Wait, do you have any fun?
Football's fun. Showing up here to the building every day and spending time with my teammates, this is the best.
I could imagine that I could find some fun in L.A. that it might not be my home and my office.
Yeah, fortunately, we're about an hour south of L.A., so we're kind of separated, and I think it's a great area that we're in, and being able to spend it with the teammates and all this responsibility that we have to be held accountable. So staying safe.
Congrats. I like you're a nerd, you're a grinder. Yeah, you're doing all the right things there, and don't try to match Lamar. Run for run. Okay.
I'll do my best. I'm going to get down. I'm not going to take any hits, and that's.
Yeah, slide.
Yep,
Just
exactly.
remember, slide. My Chargers. Great to talk to you again, Justin. Thank you very much, and congrats.
Awesome. Thank you again.
That's Justin Herbert of my Oregon Ducks and my L.A. Chargers there.